Eham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadvam Shri Guru Shri Yuta Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Saganaralitha Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindho Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kantha Radha Kantha Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay, so we will begin reading. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ
ॐ
नमो
नमो भगवते
भगवते
हे
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो
ॐ नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
ॐ नमो
ॐ नमो
भगवते
भगवते
वासुदेवाय।
वासुदेवाय।
Okay, so reading from Canto 1, Chapter 1, Text 2. We should have started this on Saturday, but I'm really sorry I was not able to attend the reading on Saturday. So we'll begin now. Okay, like we do when we chant, we'll chant these verses. Um, just we'll just chant it once. Just please repeat after me. धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मत्सराणां सताम्
धर्मः प्रोज्झितकैतवोऽत्र परमो निर्मतस्राणां सताम्।
वेद्यं वास्तवम् अत्र वस्तु शिवदं तापत्रयोन्मूलनम्
वेद्यं वास्तवम् अत्र वस्तुषिधं तापत्रयनुर्मूलनम्।
श्रीमद्भागवते महामुनिकृते किं वा परैरीश्वरः
श्रीमद्भागवते
महामुनिकृते
महामुनिकृते
किं वा
किं वा
परैरीश्वरः
परैरीश्वरः।
सद्यो हृद्यवरुध्यते तकृतिभिः शुश्रूषुभिस्तक्षणात्
सद्यो हृदि अवरुध्यते प्रकृतिभिः शुरुषुरुभिस्तत्क्षणात्।
Okay, great. Thank you. All right, I'll just do the synonyms word to word. No need to repeat this. And then I'll have different devotees read from the translations. Okay, dharmaha, religiosity, projita, completely rejected, kaitavaha, covered by fruitive intention, atra, herein, paramaha, the highest, nirmatsaranam, of the 100% pure in heart, satam, devotees, vedyam, understandable, vastavam, factual, atra, herein, vastu, substance, shivadam, well-being, tapatraya, threefold miseries, unmoolanam, causing uprooting of, Srimat, beautiful, Bhagavate, the Bhagavata Purana, Mahamuni, the great sage Vyasadeva, Krite, having compiled, Kim, what is, Va, the need, Paraihi, others, Ishwaraha, the Supreme Lord, Sadhyaha, at once, Hridi, within the heart, Avarudhyate, becomes compact, Atra, herein, Kritibhihi, by the pious men, Shushrushbihi, by culture, Takshanat, without delay. Okay, so I'll just read the translation, briefly explain the meaning, and then I'll have somebody else read the translation and continue like that from the purport. So, translation, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavata Purana propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in his maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. So, this is the second prayer in the Mangala Charanam of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the beginning. So here the verse briefly, dharma projita kaitavo atra. So kaitava means cheating. Dharma projita, that dharma is recommended by different scriptures, different kinds of dharma, and there are so many processes, so many recommendations, so many types of worship. But the Srimad Bhagavatam rejects all types of cheating dharma. What is cheating dharma? How can dharma be cheating? That Srila Prabhupada will explain in the purport, but briefly, any dharma that causes repetition of cycle of birth and death, this is cheating. It may lead you up, it may give you pious, it may give you wealth, it may give you good body, good fame, good life. Still, it is cheating. Why? Because ultimately you are stuck in the cycle of birth and death, and the description is that you are just being transferred from one type of prison cell to a more sophisticated prison cell, but you're still in the prison nevertheless. And the cycle of birth and death is such that you may go up, but ones who go up have to come down. That is the cycle. That's the way it works. You can never permanently stay up in the heavenly planets. People try that. Many people have hope for that. The demigods are always hoping for that. But ultimately, um, even if one stays there, at the time of destruction, everything is destroyed. So Bhagavatam rejects that. Kaitava Dharma, it is rejected. Why? Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam. And it is, as it is said here, Paramo Nirmatsaranam Satam, it is appreciated and understood by those who are 100% pure at heart. Satam, devotees. Only devotees, those who are 100% pure in heart, will appreciate this, because anybody who has material desire, anybody who has some level of contamination, and so then what about us? We have material desires. Can we appreciate this? Can we understand Srimad Bhagavatam? Well, the good news is that even if one desires to become free from material desires, such a person is also called a pure devotee, because he is in the path of pure devotional service. The description here is given of that of a mango. That a mango, generally mango, when we say mango, we refer to ripe mango. But if a mango is connected to the tree and it's unripe, eventually it will become ripe just because it is connected. So similarly, even though we are not free of material desires, when we are connected to the process of Krishna consciousness, we will become free. And therefore, anybody who is aspiring to become a pure devotee, he can also appreciate and understand the Srimad Bhagavatam by the mercy of those who are already 100% pure in heart. Vedyam, they understand. Vastavam, Vastavam atra, it is factual substance. Vedyam Vastavam atra vastu Shivadam. That the real subject matter is being delineated here, which means, Prabhupada says here, that reality distinguished from illusion for the welfare of all. That it is the Bhagavatam clearly tells us what is illusion and what is reality. Why? Because it is for our welfare. That which is illusion is temporary, that which is real is eternal. And the Bhagavatam directs us to that eternal life which is related to our very being, the soul who we are. It is related to us. It is beyond our temporary designations. So this Vastavam Atra Vastu Shivadam. Shivadam means for the welfare of all, for the well-being. And what is it? Tapatraya Unmulanam. It causes uprooting of the threefold miseries. All the threefold miseries refer to miseries by you get miseries from our own body, from our mind, from our own body. A body gives pain, you get back pain, toothache, whatever you may get. This is called Adhyatmika Klesh. And then you have Adi Bhautika. It is miseries caused by other living entities. Some other fellow comes and you're driving on the road and yells at you, or you may get mosquitoes biting you, you may get some kind of disease, or the different living entities that are surrounding you, they are giving you different types of pain. So you have Adi Bhaudika, and then you have Adi Daivika, which refers to miseries caused by nature or the demigods. You have extreme heat, extreme cold, too much rain, no rain. So, like this, you have different tornado, hurricane, and you name it, there's so many things, forest fire, all of that. So, the Srimad Bhagavatam uproots these three miseries. These three miseries, these three categories summarize all the miseries we experience in life. So the Srimad Bhagavatam uproots this. Tapatraya Unmulanam. And Srimad Bhagavate, so this beautiful Purana, Mahamuni Krite, that Vyasadeva himself has written this. Mahamuni Krite. And why it is said here, Vyasadeva in his maturity, because Vyasadeva, after writing all the different scriptures, he was not satisfied. Then, as we will see later, Narada Muni comes and advises him and says, you've written all these different scriptures, but you have not directly delineated on pure devotional service. You did not directly delineate on the subject matter of bhakti to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, you are not satisfied because people, because you have given you have given so much room for distraction, people will be distracted in the name of dharma, artha, kama, and moksha. Therefore, present the real present the Srimad Bhagavatam, delineate the subject matter of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and the nature of devotional service, which is ultimately so pleasing to Him and completely satisfies the spirit soul, the jiva. So, this therefore Srimad Bhagavatam was compiled in Vyasadev's maturity, Mahamuni Krite. Kimva paraihi. Why do we need any other scripture? The Srimad Bhagavatam is the ultimate essence of the Vedas, and therefore there is no need for any other scriptures. Ishwaraha sadhya hridya varudhyate. That Ishwaraha sadi, that the Ishwara, Supreme Personality of Godhead, by this Srimad Bhagavatam, the Supreme Personality of Godhead will become firmly established within will reveal himself to our heart in our hearts, and devotional service to him will be firmly established within our hearts. Kritibihi shushrushabis takshanat, that by the culture of Srimad Bhagavatam. Culture of Srimad Bhagavatam refers to hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, Takshanat, without delay, that the Supreme Personality of Godhead will be seated within one's heart. Okay, so this is a brief description of this. So, Narayan, would you like to read? We can read the translation again.
Sure, Prabhu. Completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated, this Bhagavad Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in heart. The highest truth is really distinguished from illusion for for the welfare of all. Such truth uproots the threefold miseries. This beautiful Bhagavatam, compiled by the great sage Vyasadeva in its maturity, is sufficient in itself for God realization. What is the need of any other scripture? As soon as one attentively and submissively hears the message of Bhagavatam, by this culture of knowledge, the Supreme Lord is established within his heart. Purport. Religion includes four primary subjects, namely pious activities, economic development, satisfaction of the senses, and finally, liberation from material bondage. A religious life is a barbarous condition. Indeed, human life begins when religion begins. Eating, sleeping, fearing, and mating are the four principles of life. These are common both to animals and to human beings. But religion is the extra function of the human being. Without religion, human life is no better than animal life. Therefore, in human societies, there is some form of religion which aims at self-realization and which makes reference to a man's eternal relationship with God. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Narayan. Sunil?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
In the lower stages of human civilization, there is always competition to lord it over the material nature, or in other words, there is a continuous rivalry to satisfy the senses. Driven by such consciousness, man turns to religion. He thus performs pious activities or religious functions in order to gain something material. But if such material gains are obtainable in other ways, then so-called religion is neglected. This is the situation in modern civilization. Man is thriving economically, so at present he is not very interested in religion. Churches, mosques, or temples are now practically vacant. Men are more interested in factories, shops, and cinemas than in religious places which were erected by their forefathers. This practically proves that religion is performed for some economic gains. Economic gains are needed for sense gratification. Often when one is baffled in the pursuit of sense gratification, he takes to salvation and tries to become one with the Supreme Lord. Consequently, all these states are simply different types of sense gratification. In the Vedas, uh,
Go on, go on.
in the Vedas, the above mentioned four activities are prescribed in the regulative way so that there will not be any undue competition for sense gratification. But Srimad Bhagavatam is transcendental to all these sense gratificatory activities. It is purely transcendental literature which can be understood only by the pure devotees of the Lord who are transcendental to competitive sense gratification. In the material world, there is keen competition between animal and animal, man and man, community and community, nation and nation. But the devotees of the Lord rise above such competitions. They do not compete with the materialist because they are on the path back to Godhead, where life is eternal and blissful. Such transcendentalists are non envious and pure in heart. In the material world, everyone is envious of everyone else, and therefore there is competition. But the transcendental devotees of the Lord are not only free from material envy, but are well wishers to everyone, and they strive to establish a competitionless society with God in the center. The contemporary socialist conception of a competitionless society is artificial because in the socialist state, there is competition for the post of dictator. From the point of view of the Vedas or from the point of view of common human activities, sense gratification is the basis of material life.
Hare Krishna. There are three paths mentioned in the Vedas. One involves fruitive activities to gain promotion to better planets. Another involves worshipping different demigods for promotion to the planets of the demigods. And another involves realizing the absolute truth and his impersonal feature and becoming one with him. The impersonal aspect of the absolute truth is not the highest. Above the impersonal feature is the Paramatma feature. And above this is the personal feature of the absolute truth or Bhagavan. Srimad Bhagavatam gives information about the absolute truth in his personal feature. It is higher than impersonalist literatures and higher than the Jnana Kanda division of the Vedas. It is even higher than the Karma Kanda division and even higher than the Upasana Kanda division because it recommends the worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Sri Krishna. In the Karma Kanda, there is competition to reach heavenly planets for better sense gratification, and there is similar competition in the Jnana Kanda and the Upasana Kanda. The Srimad Bhagavatam is superior to all of these because it aims at the supreme truth, which is the substance or the root of all categories. From Srimad Bhagavatam, one can come to know the substance as well as the categories. The substance is the absolute truth, the supreme Lord, and all emanations are relative forms of energy. Nothing is apart from the substance, but at the same time, the energies are different from the substance. This conception is not contradictory. Srimad Bhagavatam explicitly promulgates this simultaneously one and different philosophy of the Vedanta Sutra, which begins with the Janmade Asya Sutra.
Okay, Jai. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna. Neeraj?
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
This knowledge that the energy of the Lord is simultaneously one with and different from the Lord is an answer to the mental speculator attempt to establish the energy as the absolute. When this knowledge is factually understood, one sees the conceptions of monism and dualism to be imperfect. Development of this transcendental consciousness is grounded in the conception of simultaneously one and different, leads one immediately to the stage of freedom from the threefold miseries. The threefold miseries are those miseries which arise from the mind and body, those miseries inflicted by other living beings, and those miseries arising from natural catastrophes over which one can which has no control. Srimad Bhagavatam begins with the surrender of the devotee onto the Absolute Person. The devotee is fully aware that he is one with the Absolute and at the same time in the eternal position of servant to the Absolute. In the material conception, one falsely thinks himself as the Lord of all all Lord of all he surveys, and therefore he is always troubled by the threefold miseries of life. But as soon as one comes to know his real position as transcendental servant, he at once becomes free from all miseries. As long as the living entity is trying to master material nature, there is no possibility of his becoming servant of the Supreme. Service to the Lord is rendered in pure consciousness of one's spiritual identity. By service, one is immediately freed from material encumbrances.
Jai, thank you. Vivek?
Pure Prabhuji, correctly.
Hare
Over and above this, Srimad Bhagavatam is a personal commentation on the Vedanta Sutra by Sri Vyasadeva. It was written in the maturity of his spiritual life through the mercy of Narada. Sri Vyasadeva is the authorized incarnation of Narayan, the personality of Godhead. Therefore, there is no question as to his authority. He is the author of all other Vedic literatures, yet he recommends the study of Srimad Bhagavatam above all others. In other Puranas, there are different methods set forth by which one can worship the demigods. But in the Bhagavatam, only the Supreme Lord is mentioned. The Supreme Lord is the total body, and the demigods are the different parts of that body. Consequently, by worshipping the Supreme Lord, one does not need to worship the demigods. The Supreme Lord becomes fixed in the heart of the devotee immediately. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has recommended the Srimad Bhagavatam as the spotless Purana and distinguishes it from all other Puranas. The proper method for receiving this transcendental message is to hear it submissively. A challenging attitude cannot help one realize the transcendental message. One particular word is used herein for proper guidance. The word is shushrushu. One must be anxious to hear this transcendental message. The desire to sincerely hear is the first qualification.
Jai, thank you.
Yeah.
Priya?
Less fortunate persons are not all interested in hearing this Srimad Bhagavatam. The process is simple, but the application is difficult. Unfortunate people find enough time to hear idle social and political conversation, but when invited to attend a meeting of devotees to hear Srimad Bhagavatam, they suddenly become reluctant. Sometimes professional readers of Srimad Bhagavatam immediately plunge into the confidential topics of pastimes of the Supreme Lord, which they seemingly interrupt as sex literature.
Interpret.
Srimad, sorry?
Interpret.
Interpret as a sex literature. Srimad Bhagavatam is meant to be heard from the beginning. Those who are fit to assimilate this work are mentioned in the shloka. One becomes qualified to hear Srimad Bhagavatam after many pious deeds. The intelligent person with thoughtful discretion can be assured by the great sage Vyasadeva that he can realize the Supreme Personality directly by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam. Without undergoing the different stages of realization set forth in the Vedas, one can be lifted immediately to the position of Paramahamsa simply by agreeing to receive this message. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Jai. Okay, go to text 3. All right. Okay. Again, requesting everyone to kindly repeat. Nigamakалпатароргалитам phalam
Nigamakal
Nigamakaldalitarodalitam phalam
सुखमुखादमृतद्रवसंयुतम्
Sukhamukhat amritadravasamyutam
पिबत भागवतं रसमालयम्
Pibata
Ata
Bhagavatam
Bhagavatam
Rasamalayam.
Rasamalayam
मुहुरहो रसिका भुवि भावुकाः
Muraho
Muraho
Rasika
Rasika
Bhuvi
Bhuvi
Bhavakaha.
Bhavukaha
Very beautiful verse. I'll do the word to word. Nigama, the Vedic literatures, Kalpataroho, the desired tree, Galitam, fully matured, Phalam, fruit, Shuka, Sri Sukadev Goswami, the original speaker of Srimad Bhagavatam, Mukhat, from the lips of Amrita, nectar, Drava, semi solid and soft, and therefore easily swallowable. Samyutam, perfect in all respects. Pibata, do relish it. Bhagavatam, the book dealing in the science of the eternal relation with the Lord. Rasam, juice, that which is relishable. Alayam, until liberation or even in a liberated condition. Muhuhu, always. Aho, oh, rasikaha, those who are full in the knowledge of mellows. Bhuvi, on the earth. Bhavukaha, expert and thoughtful. Translation, oh, expert and thoughtful men. Relish Srimad Bhagavatam, the mature fruit of the desire tree of Vedic literatures. It emanated from the lips of Sri Shukadev Goswami. Therefore, this fruit has become even more tasteful, although its nectarian juice was already relishable for all, including liberated souls. So this beautiful verse says Nigama Kalpataro. So Nigama refers to Vedic literatures. The Nigama, it tells us what to do, right? So you have the Nigama also means rules, that it said as rules, but the Vedic literatures, they state what is to be done, what is not to be done. And Kalpataroho, it is a desire tree. Anybody who wants anything in life can get it from the Vedas. Anything. Whether it is good or bad, everything you can get it from the Vedas. Therefore, the Vedas are the original source of all knowledge in the material world. That means the source of both spiritual and material knowledge. So it is the Nigama Kalpataru. Now, that desire tree, that Kalpataru, that Kalpavriksha, that has a fully matured fruit, which is called the Srimad Bhagavatam. This Srimad Bhagavatam is the fully matured tree of the fully matured fruit of the tree of Vedic knowledge. And this, the example is given, this phalam is compared to that of a mango. So this mango, when it's a beautiful ripe mango, how is it? It is Amrita Drava Samyutam. It is Amrita Drava. Drava means the mango, when it is nice when it is not very solid. The inside shouldn't be very solid. When you touch it, immediately it should ooze. And as you scoop it, it becomes semi-solid, soft. And then when you swallow it, it just goes inside like that. It's beautiful nectar, right? When we describe mango like this, we have desire to eat mango. Mango is such a nice fruit. So this, so the mango is like that. Now there is a secret that the Vedas teaches, is not well known in ancient, in the days of yore, and the people in the past, they knew this in Vedic culture, that if you go to a tree, mango tree, and you find a mango that has been touched, means that mango has been slightly bitten. It's slightly bitten at the edge by a parrot, specifically by a parrot, right? So when it's touched by the lips of the beak of the parrot, basically the beak of the parrot, that mango is known to be, the taste, that nectar that's found in that mango is on a whole other level. Why? Because the parrot knows which mango is very good. And Shastras say that just by the touch of the parrot's beak, there is a certain reaction that happens to that mango fruit, and it turns into a very, very nectarian fruit. So if one finds that mango that has been touched by the beaks of a parrot, then that mango is said to be absolutely perfect. Samyutam, perfect mango, no deficiency, right? So now the Srimad Bhagavatam is such a fruit that it is that, unlike a mango, you have a big seed inside which is useless. No, Srimad Bhagavatam is completely perfect in all regard. The whole thing is Drava Samyutam. And Shukadev Goswami is rightly compared to a bird. His name is called Shuka. Now it doesn't mean one thing, there is a mistake, there is some misconception that Shukadev somehow in common literature, Shuka is described to have a beak, to have a head of a parrot. No, this Shukadev Goswami, Shuka here, this Shukadev Goswami is the son of Vyasadev. He did not have the head of a parrot. He is just compared to a parrot. because he repeated the Srimad Bhagavatam, but he didn't just repeat it like a parrot. He had full realization of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And the Srimad Bhagavatam was therefore so much nectarian when it came out of the lips of Shukadeva Goswami. And it is perfect. It is Amrita Drava Samyutam. And how do you do it? Pipata, you drink it. The real mango, you're not really biting and eating. More or less, you slurp it in and you just drink it. So pibata Bhagavatam Rasamalayam. So this Bhagavatam, which is book dealing in the science of the eternal relationship with the Ram, with the Lord, it is a rasam, it is a rasa, it is beautiful. Rasam refers to juice here. So that ras, as you say, they say amras. So that ras, right? The Bhagavata rasam. So the Bhagavatam, Rasam Alayam, in that Alayam, it goes all the way beyond liberation, or even in a liberated state. That even in a liberated state, the Bhagavatam is relished. Which what does that mean? Those who are liberated have no taste for anything material. They don't have taste for anything that is of the that is related to the three gunas, sattva gun, rajogun, tamogun of this material, where they are not interested in any of these things. Therefore, those who are liberated, if they get attracted to something and they are addicted to something, that is not material, that is a spiritual thing. And so the Srimad Bhagavatam is attractive even to liberated persons like Shukadeva Goswami, who was liberated even before he was born. Huh? So therefore, always, muhuhu, always, ras, aho rasika bhuvi bhavukaha, that those who are rasikaha. So this is a slight glimpse into the fact that the Srimad Bhagavatam is going to explain about the rasas, the different transcendental rasas enjoyed by Sri Krishna and his loving devotees in Vraja Vrindavan. That Bhuvi, on this earth, they depicted those pastimes for the expert and thoughtful people of this world. That therefore, that we should relish that, we should understand this, that only Srimad Bhagavatam gives us entrance into that level of intimate relationship and love, bhakti, devotional service existing in Dasya Rasa, Sakya Rasa, Vatsalya Rasa, and Madhurya Rasa, the rasas of servitude, friendship, parental affection, and conjugal love. These rasas are described in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and they are relished by expert and very thoughtful men, or they are invited. Such men are invited to relish these um, mellows of Srimad Bhagavatam that is found in the pages of this great scripture. Okay, so we'll stop here. From next week, we will chant the verse again. We'll read the translation and read the purport. With that, we will conclude the Mangala Charanam of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Not next week, this Saturday, we will continue. Okay, so I'll stop here. One just point that I wanted to state, based on what it is said in some things in the previous purport. Prabhupada was making the point that people do religion only for the sake of economic development. When economic development has been achieved, then people they forget religion. And nowadays, especially in the United States, the economic development isn't looking as good as it used to look in the late 80s and or the 70s, 80s, especially the 80s and 90s, and all of this. The economy was very good, and America was up and up, and all the opportunities seemed unlimited, and people were making a lot of money and this and that. And same thing happened with the after World War II also. And religion was on the decline when Srila Prabhupada came. The churches were going empty, the youngsters were not interested, Christianity was on the down. Now Christianity is on the way up again. Why is that so? Religion in general in the United States is on the way up. Why? Because people are suffering. So now they are disillusioned. All their different methods of sense gratification isn't coming. So they are turning to religion for sense gratification. It's another wave. It's another wave. The world has seen so many waves like this, because people are practicing religion on the wrong platform. And another one thing I wanted to state, based on the purport, previous purport, one last thing um, is that simply by hearing, if only one becomes just interested in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, Prabhupada says, just by agreeing to receive this message, one can be lifted to the position of the Paramahamsa. So one has to be non envious. That non envious nature automatically, non envious means we should not become envious of the principles of pure devotional service. We may not be on that platform, but let us not be envious of that. Let us worship um, that that standard. Let us pray to the devotees who are following that standard. Let us pray to Srila Prabhupada to someday come up to that standard, and let us try our best to practice Krishna consciousness, but let us not water the the pure unadulterated message of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay, so I'll stop there. Are there any questions or comments? Yes, Sunil.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare
So I have
Krishna.
a small
Yes.
question, Prabhuji. So yeah, as in the path of devotion, although we don't envy somebody, but someone might envy us because we are following a certain path, or you know.
Yeah.
So how to kind of deal with such kind of envious nature around?
So it's natural. The nature of the world is such that even if you're even though the devotees are said to be, especially those pure devotees, they hate nobody and they're said to be the friend of everyone. But even though they are friend of everyone, they tend to be misunderstood. And when they are misunderstood like this, then what happens is that um, I mean, unfortunately, people become envious and they attack. Now, the example is that of Haridas Thakur, who was a Muslim, and from the eyes of the other Muslims, he had become a Hindu. And he was ordered by the local Nawab to be flogged in 21 marketplaces. And in spite of that, Haridas Thakur didn't die. And the Muslim guards, they became very afraid. They said, oh, you know what kind of personality you are. You know, if you don't die, we are going to die. So then Haridas Thakur says, oh, if that is the case, if I'm going to bring you suffering, then then so be it. Don't worry. And then Haridas Thakur falls unconscious and acts like he's dead. So then the Muslim soldiers throw him into the Ganges, and then he floats down the Ganga for some time, and then he gets up and he walks back. The story goes that actually Chaitanya Mahaprabhu later reveals to Haridas Thakur that he took all the blows on his back because he could not tolerate that Haridas Thakur had to undergo such a misery. But Haridas Thakur never retaliated. He never retaliated against insult to himself. The Vaishnava doesn't tolerate insult to Guru, doesn't tolerate insult to Krishna, and doesn't tolerate insult to other Vaishnavas. But personally, to personal insult and personal um, you know, uh, anybody who insults him or causes the Vaishnava is the most humble person and tolerates that. It's hard. We are not on that platform yet, but that's what we need to try, because this platform of false ego that we have, it doesn't serve us anything. People are so much on the egoistic platform. um, but yeah, even if there are other people who are envious, we don't retaliate in that way. We don't try to agitate them. At the same time, it doesn't mean that we are so humble that we do everything that they ask us to do. No, that is not the definition of humility. Sometimes devotees think humility means whatever the other fellow says, I will shake my head and nod my head for everything and do everything. That is not humility, that is stupidity. So, Vaishnavas are not stupid. At the same time, they don't unnecessarily try to agitate. For instance, a Vaishnava does not try to waste time giving instruction to persons who are deterministically not ready to hear what you want to say. They are just talking to you to get into an argument.
Mhm.
You should not waste time with those people. Even if they say some nonsense, you let it go. Otherwise, there's no end. If the purpose of the other person is simply to agitate, not to actually have a serious conversation to try to understand something, there is no point. And we are also not eager to give instruction to someone who's not willing to listen. Why waste time? So, what we can do is we can help them in other ways. We can give them prasadam. We can try to give them some books, maybe, if they are a little more favorable. And we can try to encourage them to participate in other ways. But if they are very openly envious, then it is better to maintain little distance, little respectful distance, and try to keep the cool, not agitate things unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
The one question I had, only one.
Yeah.
Prabhu, after there are so many radical changes, like after like certain time, whenever I hear any Krishna Kada, anything that is sweeter from usually Vaishnavas, it's starting to tear up a lot more. Like, is it natural that you tend to become more emotional about Krishna Kada once you like in the process, like you start tearing up so often? Is it natural, or or is there an emotional backlog that is causing us kind of a
Well, it's good.
sensitivity?
It's good to have such emotions to the Supreme Lord, as long as we understand that um, we may have those emotions, but if we also have emotions for material desires, we're not fully on the pure platform. Yet, it's not that we should it's not that we have to regret such emotions. We don't try to forcefully let it come. It's not like we try to force. I'm not crying, I should start crying. Not like we're doing a drama. But naturally, if it comes, it's okay. We feel actually embarrassed that, oh, I'm feeling like this, but also I have emotions for things that I shouldn't have emotion for. But Krishna is so merciful. See, one thing, you know, someday we'll talk about the stages of devotional service. Actually, hold on, let me make a note of that. Um, some topics that I want to go through someday. This is okay. Yeah. And if you understand that stages of devotional service, love of Godhead, prema or bhava, ruchi, these are all the highest stages of devotional service. We are really low. We are just beginning bhajana kriya, then anartha nivritti. This is the stage that we are in. But Krishna is so merciful that in order for us to gain strong faith in Krishna consciousness, he gives us a glimpse of some of the higher stages of Krishna consciousness. Just little bit glimpse. And those glimpses itself are so overwhelming for us. And it's so amazing. And when we experience that, you can't really explain it in any other way except by understanding that this is actually real. This is something real. This is not something that is just made up in my mind. And that this is something real. And when we have that experience, I remember one of the experiences that I so fondly remember is when I went for first time to Mayapur. And I stood in front of the deities of Radha Madhava Ashtasaki, and the curtains opened for Darshan Arati, and they opened from they open like this, and it's like, and what happens is it's a little there's a little perfume, incense, and some smoke, and then they play these Govindam Adi Purusham prayers, and then on the both sides devotees are waving chamara, and a devotee is going around with the mirror, and somebody is spraying perfume to the deities. It was such an amazing sight. The deities are so big, and just the whole mood and fervor of that atmosphere. It was such a transformative experience that, and it happened so many years ago. This was probably like 2010, 11, 2011 maybe. Yeah, long time ago. But I remember it like it happened yesterday. And it was such a strong experience. I literally felt I am right now in the spiritual world, and Krishna and all of his associates are standing right now, right in front of my eyes, and I cannot deny this. This is Krishna. I was really, really ecstatic. And he is Krishna. But just that that feeling, so that's strong. And so sometimes when we are struggling in Krishna consciousness, when we are down, sometimes we are even wondering, our minds start to think, is Krishna there? Is this process of devotional service real? Is this all some kind of imagination? Like,
Yeah, am I
all of this that
hallucinating?
I'm doing,
Yeah, right,
am I
right.
actually going to go back home, back to Godhead? Different
Right.
people are saying different things. Who knows what? But then if we pause a little bit and we sometimes think of these experiences that we've had as devotees, you will know that these are real things. You cannot deny. There's so many. We've all had our experience. Sometimes that one kirtan that you were in and you were just totally transported. You were not intoxicated. You were not high. You were not crazy. Nobody gave you $1 million. Nothing. And you were in bliss. You forgot all the problems in your life and you felt, let me die right now. That's it. This is it. This is the perfection of my life.
Yeah.
That feeling, it's not normal. It is real because it is based on solid shastra that we are reading in Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, nectar of instruction, nectar of devotion, these Upadeshamrita, Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, these scriptures, they are based on the solid Chaitanya Charitamrita, based on solid scriptural evidence, perfectly substantiated by logic and demonstrated by the lives of the pure devotees described in the pages of the Srimad Bhagavatam and the wonderful acharyas of our own sampradaya. So this is not some maya. It's not some concoction in the mind. It is a real thing. You cannot explain this. So some Krishna gives that because he describes in Bhagavad Gita that the process of devotional service is pratyaksha vagamam dharmyam. It is not a process that's simply in one brain. It is not simply logical. And it is not something that we will just attain in the future. No, you can experience Krishna consciousness right now. It is an experiential process that is perceived just like we perceive right now. You can touch your laptop or your phone, or you can touch this, you can feel it. This is okay, this is perceivable. Like that, devotional service is perceivable. It is a palatable, perceivable thing. It is not some vague, abstract concept.
Very, very glad to hear. Like sometimes it happens. Like, are we really becoming sensitive? Like that kind of.
Yeah. Well, we should be humble. We shouldn't immediately consider ourselves, "Arey, I'm now in prema." Not like that. But,
Yeah.
we have to, but we have to understand it's just Krishna's causeless mercy. He is giving us a lot of mercy, and we can be grateful to the acharyas for and devotees for facilitating this.
Yeah. Absolutely, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Okay. Jai.
Yeah.
Fanish,
Prabhu, it's a trivial question.
go ahead.
Yeah, we have so many avatars of Bhagavan Vishnu, like Narsimha avatar, Kurma avatar, Matsya avatar. Like, why do we indulge ourselves in chanting only Rama and Krishna?
Um, yeah. So, I mean, all of the forms of the Lord are transcendental. However, we worship the forms primarily of Krishna, means mainly we worship Krishna. Of course, Ramachandra and Narasimha also we worship quite a bit. But the main reason is that Krishna is the source of all the other incarnations. He's the source. This is stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam. He is the source of all of the other incarnations, including Rama. So this is there in the Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murti Shukala Niyamena Tishtan नानावतारम अकरोत् भुवनेषु किंतु कृष्ण स्वयं समभवत् परमः पुमान्यो गोविंदमादि पुरुषं तमहं भजामि. So this is stated in the Brahma Samhita. Ramadi Murtishu Kala Niyamena Tishtan. That from Rama, referring that Rama actually there refers to Balarama, because Balarama is the first incarnation from Krishna, is the first expansion. This is described um, in the in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, in teachings of Lord Chaitanya to Rupa Goswami. And the different incarnations of the Lord are described. And so Krishna is the source of all these incarnations. And because he's the source of all these incarnations, what happens is in the other incarnations, certain attributes of Godhead are hidden. Like if you see, I give you a simple example, right? We worship the forms of Rama, Krishna more, and especially Krishna, because of the Saulabhyam. This is the main aspect. Saulabhya means Krishna made himself available to everyone. If you see the other incarnations, everybody is not allowed to access the other incarnations. You look at Narasimha, normal people had no interaction with Narasimha. Even the demigods could not approach Narasimha. Only Prahlad could go. And then after Prahlad, when he pacified, then Brahma and the other demigods came. They came little. Even Lakshmi Devi had a difficult time approaching Narasimha. This is described in the Bhagavatam, 7th canto. And avatars like Kurma, they all appeared only in the heavenly planet. Varaha also, same thing. And if you take the incarnation of even incarnations like Lord Ramachandra, Ramachandra had Ekapatni Vrata. In the Ramayana, you can see so many places, different people and different personalities approach Rama that we want to actually be your consort. But Rama says, no, this life I have Ekapatni Vrata, that's all, only Sita. Next life, next incarnation, when I come, Krishna. And Krishna had relationship with everyone. Krishna was the Saulabhyam of Krishna, that because this reveals the aspect, the actual real aspect of God in his full feature, that actually he is not the Lord of just a few living entities, he is the Lord of everyone. And Krishna is like that. He interacted with everyone of all classes of people, top to bottom, left to right. People got interaction with Krishna. Now, that doesn't mean if somebody, a normal person worships Kurma, Varaha, they will not get Kurma's mercy, Varaha's mercy, Narsimha's mercy. No, that's not the point. But the point is the pastimes of Krishna and Rama are more elaborate, especially Krishna, extremely elaborate, very, very elaborate pastimes of Krishna. And it is those mellows of devotional service that specifically Lord Chaitanya came to reveal. And since we are in the line of Lord Chaitanya, we follow Lord Chaitanya, we are worshippers of Krishna, especially Krishna in Vrindavan. Because in Vrindavan, Krishna is not some big king, emperor, god. No, he is just a normal cowherd boy who is simply loved by all the residents of Vrindavan in their different relationships with him. This is God as the enjoyer with his personal associates, his personal family. And that intimate thing is a very, very high philosophical concept. It's not a sentimental thing. But that is what is revealed in the Srimad Bhagavatam. I hope I kind of explained something. But that's the main reason. Okay. All right. We are way over time. But Marut Prabhu, I guess this will be the last one I'll take.
Yeah, sorry, Prabhu. How can we say for great personalities like Vyasadev, who is an incarnation of God, and we can say he's a pure devotee also, he can be mature at some times and unmature at some other times, because in the previous verse we saw
Yeah,
the hero
Vyasadeva in his
Bhagavatam in his
maturity.
maturity.
Yeah. Okay, good question. I'm going to keep the answer brief. The point is that Vyasadeva is perfect soul. However, they exhibit the pastime of being imperfect at some times. It's like Srila Prabhupada, who meets his spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur and then feels indebted to his spiritual master that his spiritual master Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur saved his life. This is just the humility of pure devotees like Srila Prabhupada, who was already perfect and reveals that he never once forgot Krishna. And in his songs and everything, he gives the idea, and eventually he explains that he is sent by Krishna. He is Krishna's eternal associate. Yet they exhibit that kind of pastime in order to instruct us that Vyasadeva in his full maturity, meaning that Vyasadeva, he is the compiler of all these scriptures. And people follow all these scriptures, but the compiler of the scriptures himself is dissatisfied. So, how can you become satisfied by reading all these different scriptures? No. But Vyasadeva became satisfied after compiling Srimad Bhagavatam. Therefore, we should compile Srimad Bhagavatam. But such pastime can only be done by an incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And therefore, that's just how the pastime runs in order to instruct us. So it is apparently he attained maturity, although he's always mature, but they follow that in order for us to understand how to mature. They set the example. They show the path by setting themselves as an example, showing themselves as an example. Okay, I'm going to have to stop here. It is over time. So Vivek, I'm sorry, but maybe you can save the question for the following
Yeah,
class.
no problem, Prabhuji. We'll talk on Saturday. Thank you.
Oh, all right, Jai. Okay, thank you very
Jai.
much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Srimad
Krishna.
Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila
Jai.
Prabhupada ki
Srila
jai.
Prabhupada ki
Anurag
jai.
Purushottama
Right.
Prabhupada
Vancha
ki jai.
kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhubhya eva
Paditan
bhavane